Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to Grow Through Gita, session number 31, I believe. So it's so heartening to see so many of you already online. Sri Vidya Mataji, Hare Krishna, you had logged in several minutes earlier. Ramtej Hari is here, Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Chetan Prabhu, Hari Bol, Lata Shetty Mataji, Hare Krishna, Banu Mataji, Geeta Devi Mataji, Yogita Mataji, Saraswati Mataji, and if anybody else is there, please take a moment as you log in to say Hare Krishna, so I know that you are here. So although it's a virtual class, we'll try and keep it a little interactive, and also I get to know who is here. So Hare Krishna and welcome, and yet again another week by Krishna and Prabhupada's mercy. We are discussing, all these interesting topics actually. We've talked about the 5 subject matters discussed in Bhagavad Gita. We've talked about false ego. We've talked about 3 different types of happiness. In fact, today we will talk about 3 different types of intelligence, not just 3, even beyond that actually. We'll get to that in a minute. And then we've talked about the knowledge series, the 20 components of knowledge, which Krishna talks about in the 13th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We did like a 5-part series on that. And last few weeks especially, we have been focusing one particular shloka, like we took the very last shloka and then we just did a deep dive on that. And then right after that, we did one on surrender, 18.65, 65, 66, something like that. So we went deep into the surrender aspect, and then last week again we did a deep dive on yet another interesting topic, And so today we are going to talk about the 3 different types of intelligences. Basically 3 types, but then there are a few others also which we will cover in the class. So specifically we will be talking about 3 shlokas from Bhagavad Gita from the last chapter, that is the 18th chapter, shlokas 30, 31 and 32. There are a few others also to support today's discussion. We will also bring in as references few other shlokas, but primarily the majority chunk of our discussion today is going to revolve around these 3 shlokas, 18.30, 31 and 32 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so types of intelligence. Welcome to the session. A few more people have logged in. Devotees have logged in. Rajeshwari Hiremadji is here. Hare Krishna. Welcome. Shraddha ji, it's so wonderful to see you again. Sharada Mataji is also here. So Hare Krishna, everybody. So let's go ahead and begin with the invocation prayers, the Mangalacharan prayers. Then after that, we'll get into the topic. I highly recommend that wherever you are, be seated comfortably and then chant the prayers along with me. So that way it's very purifying. Also, let me log in on my phone as well, so that way I kind of can keep an eye on the comment section and also know what's going on. Okay. So join your palms together and with love and devotion in your heart, loudly chant these wonderful invocation prayers. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Namo Mahavadi Pradanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. 3 times let us chant loudly the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Please join me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time, dear devotees. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So let us offer our humble obeisances and express our sincere, heartfelt gratitude by dedicating today's session, that is session number 31, Thru Gita Thematic Study, unto the lotus feet of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, my most beloved spiritual master. Alright, so let me switch my screen. So let's begin today's session by asking a very simple and straightforward question. Do you consider yourself intelligent? Yes or no? So please put your answer in the comment section. Meanwhile, Vijay Rani ji, Sairam sir, Ganesh Rao ji, Gopi Rangan sir, Parnika, happy to see all of you. Hare Krishna. So do you consider yourself to be intelligent? Now that may be an obvious question that, many people may think, of course we are intelligent, we are not unintelligent. But still, I want you to let me know, do you consider yourself intelligent? And here comes my intelligent niece just to answer her question. Mokshita is here. She also wants to know about intelligence. Okay, Chetan Prabhu is saying yes, because he took to Krishna consciousness also. All right, so he's giving the reasoning behind it also, why he considers himself intelligent. Okay, how about others? Shraddha ji is saying, whenever my decisions go right, I feel I'm intelligent. Okay, that's a good assessment actually, to determine whether you're really intelligent or not. That's good. And then Yogita ji is saying no. Okay, all right. Chetan Prabhu is saying that's the only intelligence I have got, I think. All right. Sri Vidya Mataji is saying yes, as I know devotional service is the best. All right. So what about others? There are so many others who have logged in. All you have to say is yes or no. You don't even have to mention the reason if you don't want to. Lata ji is saying intelligent because we are in Prabhupada's ashraya. All right. But even in the layman terms also you can answer, no problem. Mokshita is very busy showing her affection for Prabhupada here. Are you intelligent, Mokshita? Huh? No. Okay. So what about others? Sharada Mataji, Sai Ram sir, Gopi Rangan sir, Paranika, Geeta Mataji. Looking forward to seeing your answers here. Saraswati Mataji, Ramtej ji, Vijay Rani ji saying no. Okay. Rajeshwari ji saying yes, Mataji. Because of that only we are following you, Mataji. Oh wow. Okay. What an assessment, huh? You're following me, so you're intelligent. Okay. That's flattering for my ego. Banu Mataji saying yes. Okay, good. What about few others? Just waiting for all of you to get engaged a little bit, so we can actually get into what is intelligence and what are the types of intelligence and all that good stuff. Okay, Parnika says, yes, I feel I am because I'm trying to progress spiritually. All right. Sairam sir is saying, no, I think in this busy material world, we are diverting. Very honest answer. Good. Soni ji, Saraswati ji saying, yes, by the mercy of Krishna. Okay, very nice. She always makes sure that she's giving credit to Krishna and Prabhupada. Admire that about her. Ganesh Rao ji is saying, no, all right. Well, you may change your mind actually. Let's see. What about others? Waiting for a few more answers. Come on, let's keep it a little interactive. Chetan Prabhu is saying mind, intelligence, and false ego concept can be applied here, I think. Well, you're getting a little ahead of ourselves. So, Chetan Prabhu, just hold on, okay? We are getting into all that. What about others? You're not sure, is it? If you're not sure, just say you're not sure if you're intelligent or not. Leelavati ji, Hare Krishna, welcome to the session. So if you're not really sure if you're intelligent or not, just say I'm not sure. That's also okay. Okay, Gopi Rangan sir is saying I am not intelligent, hence I won't know. All right. Okay. Any other answers? I'm loving it so far. Okay. So all of us have some level of intelligence. And what is this intelligence? So like, okay, Ajay Prabhu is saying, I'm not sure, Mataji. Very honest, okay? Hopefully this session will help you assess if you are intelligent or not intelligent and what type of intelligence you have and what you need to do to, improve it further. Hopefully this session will answer at least a few of those questions, Ajay. Nothing to worry about it. So all of us have some intelligence, and now first and foremost, even before understanding the types of intelligence, dear devotees. Let us understand what is intelligence. So now we are not going to focus on intelligence. Many people confuse intelligence with just the IQ. They will say, okay, I have an IQ of 110 or 120 or whatever. So we're not really talking that materialistic measurement of one's intellect in terms of IQ. We're not really talking about that. And many times people also confuse intelligence with brain. So we are again not connecting intelligence with the brain aspect. Here is where we have to understand the difference between the gross body and the subtle body. So first of all, we should understand, where does intelligence fit into our existence? So when we say the gross body, most of us understand here, I hope, that gross body means something that you can see, you can touch, you can feel, basically all your Panchamahabhutas, the five senses, the body that you can literally, see in front of you. But whereas there is another aspect of our existence which is called the subtle body, and the word itself is subtle. That means you can't necessarily see it, but it is there. And there are three important elements making up this subtle body. So that is mind, intelligence, and false ego, which our Chaitanya Prabhu was mentioning, just now. So mind, intelligence, and false ego. So these three aspects make up our subtle body. So clearly, intelligence is part of our subtle body. Now, it's also important to understand, because again, people confuse mind and intelligence to be the same thing. So these are all many common misunderstandings. To equate one's intelligence with one's IQ, to equate one's intelligence with one's brain, and sometimes synonymously, interchangeably, they use mind and intelligence. But again, that's not right. So the faculty of mind is responsible for thinking, willing, and feeling. These are the three primary aspects of mind. So it's like a thought generating factory. So what is the difference between mind and intelligence? Now mind, although it is generating a lot of thoughts, on an average about 70,000 thoughts every day, if not more actually, because most of us are overthinking these days. And when it is generating these thoughts, the mind does not have the ability to distinguish between good thoughts and bad thoughts. The mind doesn't have the ability to distinguish between what is actually good for my long-term interest and what is not good for me. So the mind doesn't really discriminate any of these things. It just keeps on generating thoughts. It has a lot of feelings, we say, I feel good today, or some days we say, I don't feel so good today, I feel kind of sad and lonely and depressed. So what is this touchy-feely type? This is all coming from the mind aspect. It has nothing to do with the intelligence aspect. But whereas the intelligence, the subject matter of discussion today, intelligence is above the mind. Above in the sense, intelligence is superior to mind. Krishna talks about this in Bhagavad Gita. He says mind is superior to the senses, intelligence is superior to the mind, the ego is superior to the intelligence, and the spirit is superior to all of them because it is spiritual, and that's what we are. So intelligence is that factor in our existence which discriminates. The key thing is the intelligence has the ability to discriminate. Discriminate means to distinguish, to separate out. And to discriminate what? What to do versus what not to do. What is good versus what is bad. So basically, the very important function carried out by the faculty of intelligence is decision making. Decision making. So decision making is not an aspect of the mind, it's an aspect of the intelligence. So some of you who said, most of you who said, yeah, I'm intelligent, You are backing up with some reasoning. So a good determining factor for how intelligent you are depends on how good decision maker are you. If most of the time you're making like pretty good decisions, then you are much more intelligent. So intelligence is directly related to decision making, and decision making depends on discriminating between choices that you have, what's good for you, what's not good for you, and all these stuff. So that's briefly, and we all understand, right, that on a daily basis, like right now, you had to make a decision. Are you going to come and attend the Thru Gita session on types of intelligence, or are you going to go out? Or are you going to just, watch something on Netflix? Or are you going to go for a family event or something? Or maybe are you going to read a book? Or maybe you're just going to go for a walk. So whatever, are you going to go work out or watch or anything, right? So you had multiple choices. But good job, you are intelligent. You made the best decision of attending the Thru Gita session. So like this, every moment, every day, we are swamped, we are forced to make decisions, both big and small. So big decisions could be, like which college do I need to get into? Am I going to study computer engineering, or am I going to study industrial engineering? Or, who am I going to marry? Or am I going to marry at all? Or about having kids? Or where are you going to live? Which company are you going to work for? What are you going to do for a living? These are all some major decisions. But there are also small decisions like, what do I cook for dinner tonight? I have 2 hours of free time. So what do I do with that 2 hours of free time? What do I wear? My choice of clothing, or which book do I read? What show do I watch? These are all like smaller decisions. But regardless of big or small, we are forced to make decisions every single day. So if we can clearly understand which type of intelligence is better and what types of intelligences are there, hopefully we can become a better decision maker. And most of our difficulties and suffering comes as a result of doing certain things which we did not understand the consequences of. Basically from bad decisions. So just in the recent past, I was going through something where I was having difficulty deciding. And for that period where I was indecisive, like where I was confused, I did not know what to do, what not to do, I had so much of anxiety. But by Krishna and Prabhupada's mercy, when through consulting Shastra and Guru Shastra and Sadhu, when I was able to gain that clarity and come to that decision, like, okay, this is what I need to do, then immediately there was a sense of peace that overcame me and there was no anxiety. So like this in our life, when we are not able to make good decisions, we have a lot of stress. But at the same time, if we can have this ability, if we can nurture this intelligence function in us in a way that we can make good decisions consistently over and over again, then actually we can reduce our suffering, we can become more peaceful, there is so much of clarity in our life, less anxiety, and I think that is what most of us want. Not just most, all of us want, right? To peace and stress-free life. So what are these types of intelligences? We will get into it. Prasadji, Hare Krishna, welcome to the session. So I am going to share my PowerPoint, and now is the time where you can maybe jot down some notes. After briefly talking about what is intelligence, what is the distinction between intelligence and mind and subtle body, cross body, and all that good stuff. So let's get into the actual types of intelligence now. Okay, so what is intelligence? I just talked about it. So let's start from the worst case scenario, the lowest type of intelligence, and then we will work our way up, okay? So the lowest on the rung of types of intelligence is intelligence in the mode of ignorance. intelligence that is covered by tamoguna. Now all of us may be scratching our heads. It's like, hey, but how do I know that my intelligence is covered by tamoguna? What are the characteristics using which I will know that my intelligence is covered by tamoguna? Let's get into it. Let's see what Krishna has to talk about this tamoguna covered intelligence. So chapter 18, shloka 32. Please repeat after me. Adharmam dharmam iti ya manyate tamasavrita sarvartan viparitam cha buddhi sa partha tamasi. Let's do one line at a time now. I request that all of you please join me in chanting the shloka. It's very, very purifying. Adharmam dharmam idiya manyate tamasavrita sarvartan viparitamscha buddhi sapartha tamasi. Complete shloka now. Adharmam dharmam idiya manyate tamasavrita sarvartan viparitamscha buddhi sapartha tamasi. Let's quickly see the word-to-word meaning and translation, and we will understand this better. Adharmam, irreligion. Dharmam, religion. Iti, thus. Ya, which. Manyate, thinks. Tamasa, by illusion. Avrita, covered. Sarva arthan, all things. Viparitan, in the wrong direction. Cha, also. Buddhi, intelligence. Sa, that. Partha, O son of Pritha. Tamasi, in the mode of ignorance. Translation: that understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion. Okay, so exact opposite, all right? I hope you're paying attention. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness and strives always in the wrong direction, O Partha, is in the mode of ignorance. So very clear-cut understanding by Krishna. So let's try and understand what exactly this means. So intelligence covered by tamoguna. Now how do we identify this? So basically, if somebody is always making bad decisions, and how do we define bad decisions? They are choosing to do what they are supposed not to do, and vice versa. Not doing what they are supposed to do and doing what they are not supposed to do. Exact opposite. That means tamoguna. So tamoguna means consistently making bad decisions. That which is not good for us. Why? Because their understanding, their buddhi itself is contaminated. Just like a corrupt virus, right? If there is this virus, the whole system is corrupt. It will be running things which is not supposed to run. It will not be running things which is supposed to run. Whole thing will slow down. So similarly, when our intelligence is also corrupt by tamoguna, contaminated by tamoguna, laziness is an aspect of it, procrastination is an aspect of it, dirghasutricha, taking too long to do something. Maybe you could study a chapter of your college work or school work in an hour, but maybe it's like 5 hours and you're still sitting there getting distracted and not doing what you're supposed to do, not being focused. So Dirgha Sutricha, to drag something out, to procrastinate something, being lazy about something and making bad decisions. And also later in the household life, Tamoguna is characterized by people who do not want to think about anything higher other than eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. And they're quite content people actually. They're quite simple and they're quite content. They will say, okay, I have a job, I'm earning some money, I am maintaining my family, I'm taking care of my family members, we have food on the table, we have a roof over our head, I have my wife and children or husband and children, depending on who is listening to the class. But they're not interested in anything beyond that. It's all about them and their immediate family and friends. Maybe not even so much friends. Very, very narrow-minded people. So their intelligence is not broad enough where they're thinking about, oh, what can I do for the society? Or who am I? Why am I suffering? They are not making inquiries into anything higher. So their intelligence is very constricted. And they're not ambitious at all. And they're always looking for shortcuts. And comfort. If they have some good food to eat, decent food to eat, and the lifestyle is okay, they're kind of okay with that. They're not ambitious and they're not broad-minded. They're only interested in eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and making bad decisions. They have no regard for the scripture, not just regard, but they don't even understand what is there in the scripture. So they just do whimsically whatever they want. So these are all some characteristics of intelligence covered by Tamoguna. Okay, so you can maybe have this like a checklist and you can be thinking to yourself like, do I do any of these things? That means there is, because nobody's intelligence is like 100% Tamoguna or 100% Rajoguna or 100% Satvaguna all the time. It's usually a mix, but something will be predominant. So that is what we usually go by. So you can also determine as you are listening to this session is like, where does your intelligence fit into right now? And you don't have to be getting concerned about it. Is like, oh, it's Tamoguna intelligence, now what do I do? There's always room for improvement. You can always get it better, make it better. So these are some of the characteristics, and these people are always getting into trouble because they're making bad decisions. Okay, but they're also proud that oh, I'm not too materialistic or I'm not very ambitious. We are quite content with what we have. We're not so much into money making, or so they also take pride in being content and being simple. But that's not because they're very noble people. That's because they're too lazy and not too ambitious. So these are some of the features that is characterizing intelligence covered by Tamoguna. Now the next type, which is better than intelligence in Tamoguna, is intelligence in the mode of passion, Rajoguna. So come, let's see what Krishna tells about this particular intelligence in the 31st shloka of 18th chapter. Yaya dharmam adharmam cha karyam cha akaryam eva cha ayatavat prajanati buddhihi sa partha rajasi. Let's try and do one line at a time. Please chant along with me. Yaya dharmam adharmam cha karyam eva cha ayatavat prajanati buddhi sa partha rajasi. Okay, complete shloka now. Yaya dharmam adharmam cha karyam eva cha ayatavat prajanati buddhi sa partha rajasi. Let's breeze through the word to word meaning. Yaya, by which. Dharmam, the principles of religion. Adharmam, irreligion. Cha, and karyam, what ought to be done. Cha, also. Akaryam, what ought not to be done. Eva, certainly. Cha, also. Ayatavat, imperfectly. Prajanati, knows. Buddhihi, intelligence. Sa, that. Partha, O son of Pritha. Rajasi, in the mode of passion. Okay, translation. O son of Pritha, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in the mode of passion. So basically, intelligence covered by Rajoguna, these are confused bunch of people. In Tamoguna, it's exact opposite. They're going in the wrong direction. What to do, they will not do. What not to do, that they will do. So they do exact opposite. But in Rajoguna, there is no that clear-cut, direction, sense of direction. There's a lot of confusion. What is the confusion? They're confused about what to do, what not to do. What's religion, what's not religion. That means what is good, what is bad. So they're confused. And as a result of this confusion, sometimes they make good decisions and sometimes they make bad decisions. Okay. So also there are few other characteristics which will make it easier for us to understand if your intelligence is covered by Rajoguna. For many of the people, it will be Rajoguna, covered intelligence. For animals, it is primarily intelligence covered by Tamoguna. For Manushya, Manava, humans, intelligence covered by Rajoguna is predominant. For Devatas, demigods, intelligence covered by Sattvaguna is prominent. So for animals, it's Tamoguna. For humans, it's mostly Rajoguna. And for Devatas, it is mostly Sattvaguna. But all of them are in the material modes only. Okay, we have still not gone to the higher realms. We have not transcended the material modes. We are still talking about Rajoguna right now. So the intelligence covered by Rajoguna. So these type of people are very, very driven and they are highly ambitious kind of people. But what are they ambitious about? They want bigger things, they want better things, and they want more things. So they are in this never-ending vicious cycle of bigger, better, more. Bigger, better, more. Bigger, better, more. So Bhagavatam very nicely in just one term, it defines Rajoguna people. Atrishna, they're Trishna. Trishna means thirsty. Thirsty here doesn't mean literally thirsty for water. It's metaphorical. So it's the figurative meaning of Trishna here means they're always thirsty for things. They are thirsty to improve their lifestyle. They are thirsty to become famous. They are thirsty to accumulate a lot more wealth. They are thirsty, to be recognized. They are thirsty to achieve more and more and more. They are thirsty to prove that they are better than other people. So they are thirsty in all these different things. So unlike the Tamoguna people who are very content and simple, Rajoguna people are never content. That's why they are thirsty, right? Because their thirst is never quenched. They get this and then they want something else. They get that and then they want a better version of that. Or they got something but they want a bigger version of that. So they are not only interested in improving their own lives in a materialistic way, but sometimes this Rajoguna intelligence will also become a little broad. In the sense that they think, okay, I want to save all the poor people, or I want to open a bunch of orphanages and help destitute children, or I want to do something for old people, or I want to do something for this, cause of women, or I want to do something for the animals, or I want to do something with the cleaning up of ocean, or I want to do something for the ozone layer. I want to do something with the pollution, or I want to plant trees. So their broad-mindedness, their ambition also sometimes expands to the society, to the community. So there also they're very ambitious. Let me create some systems, or let me take up some initiatives, let me bring this and do that and do this. But they're doing this with the intention of, again, like we said, right, to become famous, to be recognized, to prove their superiority. Like, for example, Bill Gates, he made a quote. He said something like, on a Sunday morning, he could do better by staying outside of the church than sitting inside the church. So this is like a typical Rajoguna driven intelligence, right? So he's telling, if he's outside the church, he's doing all this philanthropic, so-called philanthropic activities, he's saving the world, he's coming up with vaccines and whatnot, he's like this messiah, so-called. He's feeling like he's doing so much good for the society, instead of sitting in the church and listening to a sermon and praying to Jesus Christ. So this is typical Rajoguna. So Rajoguna is somewhat better than Tamoguna, because at least they're active, they're doing something, they have some level of ambition. But the hindering factor is it's all at the materialistic level. And also they have so much stress and anxiety because they're never content. Krishna says in 17th chapter, one of the austerities of the mind is contentment, to be satisfied. So just like when you are going out on a street for a walk, it's better to protect your feet by wearing shoes. So similarly, as we are traversing the path in this material world, going through our journey, it is advised to protect our mind with the footwear of satisfaction. Otherwise, we are always going to be thirsty. This, that, and more. This, that, and more. Never ending. And the sad part about Rajoguna is the harder they work, the reward these people get is more hard work. Because, they got something great and now they have to maintain it, or they have to surpass even that. Remember, they're never satisfied. So they're working. And when they get there, then it's like more working. So the reward for hard work for Rajoguna people is more hard work. It's not like they're getting some result and happy. No, it's more stress. It's more hard work. So like I told you, these are all checklists. And when it comes to decision making, because that's the primary aspect of intelligence, isn't it? To make decisions. So while Tamoguna people are always making wrong decisions, bad decisions, Rajoguna people, it's a mix. Sometimes they make good decisions and sometimes they make bad decisions. Remember, Krishna said, because they are confused. And out of that confusion, sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes right, sometimes wrong. And because of this, some level of punya, some level of papa, some level of so-called enjoyment, which ultimately, eventually, anyway turns into suffering, and there's also suffering. And also because of all this work, ambition, anxiety, stress, the process itself is so frustrating. So I think this is kind of ringing a bell now, right? So most of the people that we do see around us, and sometimes even we may be acting like that actually, always busy in materialistic way. So this is intelligence driven or covered by Rajoguna. So we've talked about two types of intelligences now. So now let's talk about an intelligence that's superior to these two. Okay, so what is that superior intelligence? Let's go ahead and find out. Here we go. Intelligence covered by the mode of goodness. So this Krishna talks about in the 18th chapter, 30th shloka. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya akarye bhaya abhaye bandham moksham cha ya vetti buddhihi sa partha satviki. Okay, so let's do one line at a time. Please chant along with me. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham cha ya vetti buddhi sa partha satviki. Complete sloka now, dear devotees. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham cha ya vetti buddhi sa partha satviki. Beautiful sloka. So what's the word to word meaning? Pravrittim, doing, cha, also, nivrittim, not doing, cha, and let me get a sip of water. Karya, what ought to be done, akarye, and what ought not to be done, bhaya, fear, abhaye, and fearlessness, bandham, bondage, moksham, liberation, cha, and ya, that which Vetti knows, buddhihi understanding, sa that, partha, O son of Pruta, satviki in the mode of goodness. Translation: O son of Pruta, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. Alright, so let's try and understand this in a better way. Okay. So intelligence covered by Sattva Guna. So these people, they have clarity about three different things. What to do, what not to do, what is liberating and what is binding, and what is to be feared and what is not to be feared. So at the material level, this is the highest. But overall, this is still not good enough. But just between the three modes characterized, the material world characterized by the three modes, just among these three, Sattva Guna is superior to both Tamo Guna and Rajo Guna. Why? Because, like I said, there's clarity, and these are who we call the good religious people. They're honest, they don't hurt anybody. And the interesting thing is, externally, sometimes even Sattva Guna intelligence seems like Tamo Guna intelligence, because the Sattva Guna intelligence, these people are also quite content and simple. Okay, please try to get this difference. So the Tamoguni people, they are content and simple. Sattva Guna people are also content and simple. But the Tamoguna people are content because they are not ambitious and they are lazy and they just want an easy life. But the Sattva Guna people are content because they are deriving their sense of enjoyment or satisfaction through higher realms, that is at the mind level, at the intellect level. But at the level of Tamoguna, Their sense of enjoyment is simply coming from enjoying the senses, the gross senses. Remember, this gross senses, mind is above, intelligence is even above than that, and then there's the false ego, and then there is spirit, Atma. So tamoguna people are at the realm of gross senses. But sattvaguna people, what do you say, the kick they get, the enjoyment they derive is at the mental level and intelligence level. And these are not necessarily lazy people, the sattvaguna people. They are ambitious, but their ambition is to do good to the society. And to do good to the society, it is not like the rajoguna people in terms of materialistic way, but sattvaguna people want to do it through wisdom, sharing knowledge, bringing some level of positivity in the society. So these people are at that level through art and culture. So some examples for intelligence covered by Sattvaguna could be poets, artists. When I say artists, it could be painters, dancers, singers, any kind of art. And then sometimes even scientists, right? So these are all intellectual people, artistic people, creative people. So these are aspects that is coming at the level of mind and intelligence. So like we know, right, these people who I mostly mentioned, they're not so much after fame and money and this and that. Their sense of enjoyment is doing the right thing and deriving pleasure through intellectual pursuits, artistic, creative pursuits. So they're not so much after external in terms of money, fame, those kinds of things. So in that sense, they are content. And doing good to the society also, like I said, it is, somewhat better, a lot better actually, compared to the Rajoguna kind of doing good to the society. And some of the things that characterizes Sattva-guna intelligence is that they are quite peaceful because they know, right? Like I said, even in my own life, when I said my confusion and anxiety was coming when I was indecisive, I didn't know what decision to make. So the moment I was able to nail down and say, yeah, this is the right decision, then there was peace. So similarly for Sattva-guna people, Krishna says there is peace as a characteristic of their life because they're so clear in terms of decisions. What to do, what not to do, what is liberating, what is binding, what to fear, what not to fear. So they have that level of clarity. So it's characterized by peace. They are quite content and peaceful people. And also Krishna says it's characterized by happiness. Tamoguna people, it's characterized by suffering only because always bad decisions. They're always getting into, bad results, trouble, difficulty because of bad decisions. But Rajoguna people, it's a mix. Sometimes so-called happiness, sometimes suffering. Good decisions, bad decisions. But Sattva-guna people, it's characterized by happiness. But mind you, this happiness is not the everlasting, divine, spiritual happiness. This is happiness at the material level. If at all there's anything called happiness, the sukham, not getting into conflicts with others, minding their own business, that kind of a thing. Banu Mataji is saying you are the best example for Sattva Guna Mataji. Well, I would like to thank you for the compliment, but I would like to transcend and go beyond this actually, hopefully. But thank you for that nice comment. So, where were we? Yeah, so Sattva Guna is characterized by peace, it's characterized by happiness because they're making the right decisions. And also, Krishna says for Sattva Guna people, all their senses are illumined by knowledge. So, when the senses are illumined, are lit by knowledge, you're able to see everything as it is, you're able to hear things as they are, you're able to speak things as they are. Honesty, satyam, priyam, hitam, all those good things. So when all the senses are illumined by knowledge, you're able to see things as they are. But in Tamoguna, all the senses are under illusion, darkness. So they see things as what they are not. They're confused people. But mind you, even if we are at the level of Sattva Guna, still it is under the material modes. It is also binding eventually. And sometimes, to be frank, being in this area of preaching and all that, we see sometimes the Sattva Guna people are the hardest to preach. Why? Because they think, anyway, I'm already happy, right? Anyway, I'm a good person, right? Anyway, I am religious person, right? They're not spiritual, they're religious. They do their vratas and austerities. Unlike the tamoguna person who is so much into the comfort at the bodily level, a sattvaguna person will, go through vratas, austerities. They will fast and, they will put their body through certain strict regimens. They're able to control their senses to some extent. So this person is hard to convince to take up Krishna consciousness. They will say, I'm anyway doing my puja, I believe in God, I'm doing my Sandhya Vandana, I am doing some dana dharma, so why should I take up Krishna consciousness? So you go tell them, why don't you chant, you're already such a good religious person, chant 16 rounds. They will not. They will not. They will say, why should I? Already I'm happy, already I'm peaceful, already I'm a good religious person. Then why should I? So sometimes this category, although it is better than Rajoguna and Tamoguna, but it can prove to be very, very challenging to convince this category of people to take up Krishna consciousness, to go beyond the three moods. Because these people, as good as they may seem, still they are also stuck in the cycle of birth and death. They will go to heavenly planets, they will enjoy. But again, Kshine Punye Martya Lokam Vishanti. Krishna says, okay, you may accumulate a lot of punya and you may go to higher lokas. But Kshine Punye, all your punya, it's going to get exhausted, right? It's not like everlasting Akshay Patra of punya or something. So again, they have to come back to Martya Loka, that is earthly realm. And again, Punarapi Janana, Punarapi. So as enticing as it may seem to be in Sattva Guna, it is still dangerous. Because that is eventually binding us in this cycle of birth and death. That's why when Banu Mataji said that you're the best example for Sattva Guna, it's a double-edged sword. Okay. Gopi Rangan sir is saying, Banu Mataji bet me to it, but you were the one who came to my mind too. Oh, thank you, Gopi sir. Hari bol, thank you. Okay, so now these are the three gunas, but this is not what we want to aspire for. There is something beyond this. But before we get to that, cherry, the cream part, I want to highlight something that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Remember last week's session, we had a deep dive into his Madhurya Kadambini. So that same Acharya, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in one of the purports, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 4, Shloka 12, in the episode relating to Daksha Prajapati, who was doing yajna, and his son-in-law Shiva and his daughter Sati, where Daksha ends up finding faults and insulting Lord Shiva, and then Sati ends up giving up her body. Anyway, we'll not go into that whole pastime. But in that context of Daksha Prajapati performing yajna and insulting, finding faults with Lord Shiva, who has no faults at all, actually, Lord Shiva. So in that context, in the commentary, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talks about 4 types of good people, saintly people, and 4 types of wicked people, asadu people, sadhu and asadu. Okay, so I'm going to go through them. I have put them on the PowerPoint. So keep your eyes and ears out and just find out, like, where are you? Prominently, what are you doing? I want you to keep a check and then put it in the chat section later. Which one do you identify yourself with? Okay, 4 types of saintly people, 4 types of asadu people. So because intelligence is about distinguishing between good and bad. Now, this also comes to how we see good and bad in other people. When it comes to seeing good and bad in our own, we always are very partial to ourselves, right? We think we have a lot of good qualities, we exaggerate them, we overlook our faults. And even if we know there are some faults, we think, oh, that's okay, that's nothing major, we kind of overlook them. So when it comes to our own thing, we are very, very partial and biased. But when it comes to seeing the good in others and fault in others, how do we conduct ourselves? What kind of intelligence do we have in seeing good and fault in others? So there are 4 types here, 4 types there. Let's find out which one we come to it, okay? All right, it's quite interesting actually. So let's get into it now. So 4 types of saintly persons in his Tarartha Darshini commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 4.4.12, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has described 4 types of saintly persons according to how they see good qualities and faults. So of these 4 types of saintly persons, the one on the lower rung is Mahat. Mahat means great person. Who is this Mahat? Let's understand. A Mahat has the ability to see some good in everyone. They also perceive faults in others, but they consider that those faults can be eventually transformed by certain methods into good qualities. Okay, thus if they feel that a person may be benefited by discussing that person's faults, they may under appropriate circumstances speak harsh words. Just like neem juice tastes very bitter, but it can cure diseases when administered appropriately. It should be noted that a Mahat will never reject or condemn a faulty person, but thinks only how that person may be benefited. Okay, so this person is a saintly person, a good person. So their characteristic is they're able to see both good and bad. Okay, these are good things in this person and these are bad things in this person. But when they do see faults in others, the nice thing is they're thinking even that fault, how can it be turned into good? Just like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving an example here. Like neem is very bitter. It may seem like the fault. But that neem, when administered properly, can cure so many ailments. So it can actually be beneficial. So similarly, say for example, somebody is speaking harsh words. Although it is a fault, a Mahat, a great person will think, okay, but this harsh words also sometimes can be used to speak the truth and shake up a person and make them better. Just like Vidura, he spoke harsh words to Dhritarashtra. But that was to shake up Dhritarashtra in a way that he leaves the home and he takes sannyasa, he renounces everything and he goes to a higher realm. So this is Mahat. But better than Mahat is Mahattara, a greater person. Who is this greater person? A Mahattara also sees good and bad qualities in others, but focuses and praises only the good qualities. For example, seeing a materialistic merchant, a Mahattara will think, although he is a sense gratifier, he takes good care of guests and is worthy of deliverance. See how he is better? He or she. So a Mahattara, just like a Mahat, is able to see both good and bad. But what are they focusing on? Just the good things. Like there may be a man who is very greedy, always hoarding money. But a Mahattara, although he knows that, he focuses on, well, but he is, quite hospitable to the guests and he does this, he does that. So they're able to see only the good and ignore the fault. Although they know there are faults, they're able to ignore that. And even better than Mahattara is Mahattama, especially a great person. How come this person is better? A Mahattama sees whatever good qualities others have and magnifies them, not seeing even the smallest fault. And Vishwanath Chakravarti describes their attitude. This person has stolen my cloth because he is cold, and although he has a weapon, he doesn't attack me because he is merciful, he is virtuous. So look at how wonderful. So in this context, I want to share a beautiful story. So once there was an argument going on in the ashram of Ramanujacharya. Like, who are better? The sannyasis are better or the grihasthas are better? Who is more spiritually progressed? So Ramanujacharya, noticing that the sannyasis were slightly proud of their renounced order, he wanted to teach them a lesson. So Ramanujacharya instructed the sannyasis to go to one particular householder. And this householder, both the husband and wife were wonderful devotees. So this Ramanujacharya, he said, you go and steal whatever valuables you can find from this grihastha's home. Quite interesting, actually. So the sannyasis, they plotted the whole thing. Okay, so one night they showed up. The door was open, somehow they got in, and then they were stealing. And the husband was fast asleep, and the wife was also asleep. But she did recognize that there are some thieves, and she also recognized that these were the sannyasis from the ashram. But thinking that if he wakes up or if he says something, they may stop taking the things away, she just pretended like she was asleep. And then one of the sannyasis was so brave, so-called brave. So he comes and actually tries to take the earrings off of that Mataji. And then he managed to take off one set of earrings, and then thinking that he's just going to go away without the other earring, this lady even turned side, thinking that let him take the other side earring also. But then when she changed the side, the sannyasi got a little scared, thinking that she's going to wake up and they're going to be caught. He did not bother to remove the other earring. They just ran away with whatever they had gathered until then. And after they left, both the husband and wife are conversing, and Ramanujacharya and the sannyasis, they are overhearing this from outside. So the wife is describing all the things, whatever is happening, that, they were actually sannyasis from the ashram. And then the husband says, I'm sure that the ashram actually needed some funds, otherwise they would not have done this. So, I feel sorry for them, that they should have actually taken more stuff. And the wife said, he only took one of my earring. He should have taken the other also. I even turned my side. And the husband is chastising the wife and saying, why did you turn your side so quickly? You should have done gently. Maybe you just turned your side so quickly that he got a little scared and left. If you had done gently, pretending like you were asleep, I'm sure he would have taken the other earring also. So the husband is actually chastising the wife. And they're also thinking that, they wish that the sannyasis would have taken other things also, that they just ran away in the middle, left the home. And when sannyasis heard this, Ramanujacharya, taught through this personal example. So this is Mahattama. How this couple, this devotee couple, are able to see the good qualities and then magnify them. And they're not seeing even the smallest fault. And anyway, in that story, the other part is that the sannyasis, although they had their cowpeens is, that small piece of cloth that they used to cover their body. Once somebody had taken some cowpeen, it gotten some, mixed up, and they were fighting just for their cowpeens. And here there was this devotee couple who were so magnanimous. So this is Mahatma. Focusing only on good and also magnifying the good. Some people are like this, right? Like there is one god brother of mine. Every time we meet and I walk away from his meeting, I feel like 2 inches taller. That is not because of my greatness, but because how he is. He is a Mahatma. So there may be some little, some small good thing, but he has this ability to magnify, and he says it in such a way that it just feels good. So this is a Mahatma. And then even better than Mahatma is Ati Mahatma, extremely great person. So who is this person? Let's find out. And Ati Mahatma sees good qualities in others even where there are none. Their attitude is, in this world there are no bad people, everyone is good. Oh my God. So look at this, huh? Ati Mahattama means seeing good qualities in others even when there are none. And this is exactly what Krishna does. Like maybe a person of Muslim faith, maybe when a pig chases them or comes after them or something, they may just run away saying that haram, haram. And Krishna is telling this person said Ram, Ram. Actually, there is no good in what he said, but Krishna is taking something good. He said haram, but Krishna is thinking Ram. An English speaking person may say hurry up, hurry up. But Krishna is telling, did he call me Hari? So that's Krishna's quality. So anywhere, even when there is nothing good, but Krishna finds good. Just like in Putana's example. I mean, what was good about her? It is so deceptive of her. She disguises herself and comes in a form that is, like as though she is very saintly and a good person. She came to feed this little baby of 3 days old, just 3 days old. But her intentions were to kill the baby. But still, look at Krishna's great quality. He did not even see her ill intentions. He only focused, okay, she pretended to be my mother, that itself I will take. And he gave her the position of Datri, a nurse. And she went back to Goloka. So of course Krishna killed her. He had to do that. She was a demon. But then the end result was that she went to Goloka. Imagine. There's nothing good, but Krishna is seeing good. And Krishna does that. And thank God that Krishna is Ati Mahattama. He is the best of the best of the best. Otherwise, what is the hope for someone like me if Krishna doesn't see good when there is no good? Actually, there is no good. So the hope for someone like me is that Krishna's great quality, that he is able to see good when there is no good. And this can be said for Krishna and Krishna's pure devotees. Like Jesus Christ also, right? He's crucified on the cross. And he's saying, please forgive them. They know not what they're doing. Extremely great. Okay, so these are the 4 types of saintly persons. In a similar way, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also talks about 4 types of wicked people. Asadhus. And what is their nature towards good and fault finding? Let's find out. So here also we'll start with the lower rung and then, he is a asadhu, wicked person. So a wicked person, an asadhu, sees some good qualities in others but presumes that eventually those good qualities will be overshadowed or spoiled by some fault. For example, upon seeing someone working for another person's benefit, the asadhu will conclude that eventually he or she will want to exploit the person whom they are helping. Simply put, asadhus are not gentlemen. So they are able to see good. So sorry, I said we'll start from the lower rung and it gets better. No, actually from here it's going to get worse actually. Okay. So asadhu is a person who is able to see good, but they are thinking, oh, this person is trying to be nice. Maybe they want some money from me or they may want some favor from me. That's why they're being nice. But actually they're not nice. And the next one is asadhu tara, very wicked person. Who is this? And asadhu tara is even more improper. He or she sees only faults in others and overlooks others' good qualities. So they're not even able to see good in others. They overlook the good and see only the fault. So it is even worse than asadhu. Like for example, oh yeah, okay, this person is a sannyasi, they have renounced everything, but look at the way they eat. They eat too much or they're eating rich food. So seeing faults. And then asadhu tama, especially wicked person, even worse. And asadhu tama takes small faults and magnifies them, seeing no good qualities at all. And the example given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is an asadhatama will criticize and condemn a renunciate as being a bogus rascal for the fault of giving up the forest and living in the house of a married man. The asadhatama will conclude his obvious motivation is only to steal the money of that householder. See? So just like earlier, they were able to see something small good thing and magnify that good thing. But here, something small fault, like a renunciant living in a householder's home, grihastha's home, but then magnifying that fault and imposing a lot of false accusations. Asadhutama, especially wicked person. And then the worst of all is Ati Asadhutama, extremely wicked person. And Ati Asadhutama sees faults in all others, even when there are no faults. In this world or in this society, no one is good, everyone is evil, they are the very worst. So this is the very worst type of a person, where even when there are no faults, they will cook up faults. Like all the demons. Like Shishupal. Krishna is all perfect. But he was going on criticizing Krishna. So when there are no faults, finding faults. Like Prabhupada. There are few people who will criticize even Prabhupada, the pure devotee, absolutely no faults. But they will find faults. Not find faults, they'll cook up faults. They'll manufacture faults. There's nothing to find. They will manufacture. You know, so where do you think you fit in? So if you try to be objective with yourself, are you saintly or are a sadhu or a mix of both? Where do you see yourself? So once we know what type of intelligence we are having, are we able to see good? Are we able to, magnify that good? Are we able to see only good? Or are we focusing on the faults? Are we magnifying the faults? Or are we cooking up faults? What type of intelligence are we having? How are we able to see good and bad in others? Very important to know. Okay. So if you are brave enough, you can put it in the chat section which category you belong to. If not, you want to keep it to yourself, your assessment, and improve upon it, that's also okay. Okay. So anybody wants to share in the chat section, you're welcome to do that. So now, up until now, we have talked about Banu Mataji is talking about Mahat. Okay, you come under the category of Mahat. That's good. That's good. So you can become like, Mahattara and Ati Mahat and all that. So keep improving. Very good, Mataji. Nice. So anybody else, if you have identified which category you belong to, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat section. I'll keep my eye on it. So until now, we've talked about intelligence covered by ignorance, intelligence covered by passion and goodness. And we also talked about 4 types of saintly people and 4 types of asadhus or wicked people based on the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So now, let's move on to an intelligence that is beyond the 3 modes. And this is what we have to aspire for. Yogita ji is Mahat category. Okay, Parnika is also Mahat. Okay, good. But we also means like Banu Mataji, Yogita, Parnika. Although you may consider it Mahat, but there may be times when you're finding faults. So those are the things we want to cut down on. And also even in Mahat, we want to get better and better and even better. Okay, so that should be our focus. So when I say our, I'm referring to these 3 wonderful devotees who messaged in the chat section. Saraswati Mataji is saying she too is under Mahat and trying her best to see good in others and bad in herself. Very good, good attempt. So now Putana's intelligence versus Krishna's intelligence. See, Krishna's intelligence that he saw good in Putana when there was no good. But in Putana's intelligence, it was all crooked. A baby that had done no harm to her, and a baby towards whom she should have actually showed affection, she wanted to kill. And on top of that, she was using her corrupt intelligence to justify her cause, thinking that I'm serving King Kamsa, I'm serving the country, and all these so-called cooked up novel principles. She felt like she was serving some bigger cause. by way of killing Krishna. So Putana's intelligence, there are some people who will find fault with Krishna, with devotees, with Prabhupada, with ISKCON. Like I'm sure if you go and Google ISKCON, there will be some blogs or even videos where they're blaspheming devotees, where they're finding faults with ISKCON. So that is Putana's intelligence. Very crooked, wicked intelligence. So we don't want to have Putana's intelligence. We want to have Krishna's intelligence, where we see only good, even when there is no good. And then we want to aspire for divine intelligence. So let's quickly have a recap. Okay, in Tamoguna intelligence, always making bad decisions. They're going in the wrong direction. Rajoguna intelligence, sometimes good, sometimes bad, because they're confused. Sattva guna intelligence, they're always making good decisions. That is why they are in peace and characterized by happiness and knowledge and all those good things. But in divine intelligence, we are making our choices, our decisions only with the intention of pleasing Krishna. So the divine aspect comes because the motivation for your decisions is to please Krishna. You're always making those decisions which is pleasing to the Lord. Like let's say, for example, somebody has a pretty decent job here in India, and but maybe they get an offer from somewhere abroad. And now, if let's imagine that this person is trying to make a decision, do they want to take this job offer from outside? They may think, okay, if I take the job offer somewhere in a foreign country, they may think, okay, I'll make a lot more money, but then I have to be away from my family. But more than being away from my family, they will calculate based on their bhakti. Will I have access to prasadam? Will I have access to devotees? Will I have enough time to do my chanting of minimum 16 rounds, good quality rounds? Will this job be conducive for keeping my consciousness clear in a way that I can perform bhakti nicely? Will it give me opportunities where I can preach? Or if they feel like, no, by taking this opportunity, only my monetary status is increasing, my salary is going up, but when it comes to bhakti, it is not at all favorable, then if they decide, I will better stay here only, where I have more devotee association, I am given more opportunities here, and the facility here is conducive and favorable for my Krishna bhakti, that means they are making decisions based on what is pleasing to Krishna. What is pleasing to Krishna? Us loving Krishna and serving Krishna and growing in Krishna consciousness is what is pleasing to Krishna and Prabhupada. So this is divine intelligence. But in the other three, intelligence is all about them. But in divine intelligence, it's all about Krishna. Just like Arjuna, right? He had divine intelligence. When Krishna said, do you want me or do you want my Narayani Sena? He said, I want you. He's thinking, what will I do with your Sena without you, Krishna? And Krishna said, well, Arjuna, I'm not even going to fight. So Arjuna said, doesn't matter. I want you. So similarly, every day, every step of the way, if we are making decisions both small and big, with the intention of pleasing Krishna, that is our only motive, then that's divine intelligence. Our decision making is for the purpose of pleasing Krishna and Guru, pleasing Prabhupada. So, and the ultimate is purified intelligence. We'll come to that. So, in Bhagavad Gita 10.8, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. So Buddha means intelligence. So Krishna is telling, for those of us who want to escape from this material world and go back to our supreme beloved Lord Krishna, be in his loving embrace, go back to Prabhupada. So our escaping the material world is a factor of our intelligence, Buddha. So Krishna consciousness is not for foolish people. This is for intelligent people. That is why it is said, Krishna ye bhaje say bada chatur. Krishna ye bhaje. Anybody who is worshipping Krishna say bada chatur. Very intelligent, most intelligent person. So intelligence is not like how many degrees you have, which school did you go to, which university you graduated from, how much salary package you're having, or how big of a business you were able to start and expand. What's your status? It's not that. It's not about your material accomplishments at all. So the real measure of one's intelligence is how close are you to escaping from this material world. And anybody who is more intelligent will ask these higher questions. Hey, why am I suffering? Why am I getting old? Why is my joint ache? Why do I have to suffer this? Or why should I die? Or why should the near and dear ones leave their body and feel all this separation? So an intelligent person will ask these questions, and then when he finds answers through way of Guru, through way of Bhagavad Gita, through other devotees, then he will make up his mind, I have to escape from here. And there's nothing wrong in escaping, right? Like if somebody has a headache and if they want to get relief from it, that means escape from their headache. That's a good thing. Only a foolish person will say, oh, no, my headache, I'm going to tolerate and show to the world how I'm going to tolerate my headache and, not do anything about it. That's foolish. If you have headache, do something to get rid of it. And even better, do something where you don't get further headaches in the future. So similarly, we are all suffering in this material world. Only a fool will say, I am going to tolerate all this suffering. Where some people will deny the suffering. They will say, no, I am quite okay. I have a decent family. I have a job. I have this. I have that. I'm in pretty good health. Only a fool will talk like this. But an intelligent person will see that not only I am suffering, others are also suffering. This whole place is a place of suffering and misery. Krishna is saying that in Bhagavad Gita, better escape from here. So Buddha Bhava Samanvita. Escaping from this material world, place of misery, is directly a measure of how intelligent you are. It's directly proportional. It's a factor of your intelligence. Now, how do I get this divine intelligence? No problem. Krishna says in the 10th shloka of 10th chapter, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. So Krishna is telling, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Anybody who is doing devotion, who is performing devotional service to Krishna, how? Priti purvakam. Not because somebody told you to, but because you have love for Krishna. Then Krishna is telling, my dear devotee, dadami buddhi yogam tam, I will give you the intelligence. And what intelligence? Divine intelligence. And using this divine intelligence, Krishna himself is telling, yenamam upayantite, using this buddhi that I am going to give you, yenamam upayantite, you will escape from the material world. Yenamam upayantite, you will come back to me. So this is the intelligence we want to have. So this is what we have to aspire for, not for Sattva-guna intelligence, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, no. We want to go beyond. And what is that topmost intelligence? This divine intelligence. Krishna will give that intelligence, provided you are doing devotional service to Krishna. The more intensely you're doing, with more love you're doing, with more sincerity you're doing, you have this intense burning desire, oh Krishna, I love you and I want to serve you and this and that and everything. Then Krishna will say, Krishna will give you the right intelligence, what you should do, what you should not do. He will arrange everything in your life where you can, make quick progress towards going back home, back to Godhead, okay? And the sign of purified intelligence, even the divine intelligence, like the ultimate, in divine intelligence, the sign that it is completely purified, gotten rid of all this lust and contaminations, everything, is when we completely surrender to Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. So when we surrender completely to Guru and Gauranga, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha. So when we surrender completely 100%, that's the sign of purified divine intelligence. This is the ultimate, the best. And when we operate at this level with the purified divine intelligence, going back home, back to Godhead is guaranteed. Krishna will personally take us. Prabhupada will personally take us. Okay, so that's what we have discussed in today's session. So in summary, today we began by welcoming all of you, giving a brief introduction to the session, types of intelligence. We talked about, first of all, what is intelligence, how it's not really to do with the brain or the mind, and we talked about the gross body and the subtle body, and the function of intelligence is decision making to discriminate between good and bad, right and wrong. And then we talked about the types of intelligences in Tamoguna, Rajoguna, Satvaguna based on the 3 shlokas in Bhagavad Gita from chapter 18, shlokas 32, 31 and 30. And then we also talked about, based on the commentary of Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Srimad Bhagavatam 4.4.12, we talked about the 4 types of saintly people and 4 types of wicked people, how their intelligence functions. And then we talked about divine intelligence. Before that, we briefly mentioned about Putana's intelligence versus Krishna's intelligence. Then we talked about divine intelligence, and referring to 2 shlokas from chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita, 8th and 10th shloka from chapter 10, we said how divine intelligence, it is through that divine intelligence we can escape from this material world and go back home, back to Godhead, and how we can attract that intelligence, receive that intelligence from Krishna by performing loving devotional service voluntarily. And then towards the end, we said the topmost indication of purified divine intelligence is when we completely, utterly surrender to Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. So I hope and pray to Krishna and Prabhupada that all of us be blessed with this purified divine intelligence. So for that, week after week, we have these Grow Through Gita thematic study sessions. Please do join us every Saturday from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Indian time. Also spread the word to others. We've been sharing these video invites. So please spread the word and do your part, so more and more people can escape from this suffering material world and go back home, back to Godhead, and develop this divine intelligence. Okay, and yeah, that's it. So if anybody has any comments or questions, please put it in the chat section. And if anybody is new, you've come for the first time to Aradhana Online, please subscribe to the channel so you can be notified of our both live and recorded sessions. And also, if you happen to like today's session, if you got some value by gaining some clarity on this topic of types of intelligence, please go ahead and hit that like button, the thumbs up button, and show us some love. Okay, and even after this session is over, this session is available on YouTube, so you can actually take this link and share it in your groups and with whoever you know, so people can watch it later also. And even if you want to come back and watch, you're welcome to. You can give a gap of few days, and you can always come back and hear it again, so you can catch up on some missed points. Okay, so I think that's it. We also have Japathon in the morning from 5:30 to 7:30 every day. So if you would like to get more information on any of these things, and if you just want to say Hare Krishna and get in touch with us, please email me on this email ID that I'm putting in the chat section right now. So I'm leaving my email ID in the chat section. Anybody interested in getting in touch, and especially newcomers, if you can please drop me an email, I would truly appreciate that, and I will get back in touch with you. Okay. So if you like today's session, hit that thumbs up button, and if you haven't already subscribed to Aradhana Online YouTube channel, do it right now. Hit that subscribe button, and also there's a little bell icon. You can click on that, so you will get all the notifications. Okay, let me catch up on some comments here. Vijay Rani Mataji is saying Mahattara. Oh, that's good. Vinay Hare Krishna, welcome to the session. Good to see you, my friend. Chetan Kumar Prabhu is saying, I see both good and bad, Mataji, but once I see something too bad, all the good gets turned into a different way, and I cannot again trust them back or cannot get comfortable with, I will improve. I know the feeling. Thank you for being so honest and objective with yourself. At least you have a fair assessment of where you are. So then pray to Krishna and Prabhupada and consciously strive to improve ourselves. But that's good. Thank you for your honesty. Prasadji is saying, trying to see good in all people. That's nice. Yogita Mataji is saying, Mataji, your sessions are always eye-opening. There is always something new to explore about us and so much to improve ourselves. Thanks a lot for your guidance. Thank you. That's so wonderful. I'm so glad. Thanks. And all credit goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. Tirumalai Kumaran sir is saying, excellent session as always, Mataji. Thank you, Tirumalai sir. Hare Krishna. Saraswati Mataji is saying, simply awesome session, Mataji. So well you have explained to all of us how to use our intelligence and to progress to get the divine intelligence. Thank you so much, Mataji. You're very welcome, Saraswati Mataji. Hari Bol. Banu Mataji is saying, thank you so much for your Tulya Darshana blessings. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada and Sri Krishna. You are too kind. You're showing that you are one of those saintly people, to see good and magnify it. Thank you, Banu Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Vijay Rani Mataji is saying, thank you, Mataji, for a wonderful session to know about our intelligence and improve ourselves. You're most welcome, Vijay Rani Mataji. Hare Paul. Hare Krishna. Okay, anybody else have any questions? From next time, I would encourage you to please think of some questions also. Now, that's also a sign of intelligence to come up with questions. So, of course, hearing attentively and drawing the lessons and wanting to improve and apply, all that is great. But along with that, if you can also think and come up with some questions during the session, that will be nice. So I can take some questions also. So that is also a sign of intelligence. Okay, so anybody, anything else? It's 7:08. Sorry, today also I took a few minutes over. Parnika is saying, wonderful session, Mataji. You explained everything so well. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Parnika. Thank you for joining and all your kind words. I'm glad that today both you and your grandmom, I'm able to see your comments. Otherwise, I was not able to, but today I did some slight setting changes and all that. So maybe that enabled it. I'm not sure, but whatever it is, good that I'm able to see your comments. That's nice. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Looking forward to having your association again next Saturday, 5:30 p.m. with yet another interesting topic where we can go deep and understand about ourselves and keep improving and grow through Gita week after week. Prasadji is saying, excellent, awesome session every week. No words to describe your excellence, Mataji. Thank you very much, Prasadji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. That is where it is all coming from, and that is where all the credit needs to go to Prabhupada. Gopi Rangan sir is saying, I reckon I got some wisdom today from Bhagwan Sri Krishna through you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you, sir. More than happy to be an instrument in the hands of Prabhupada and Krishna. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. So take care and focus on developing your divine intelligence. Okay, let's pray to Krishna and Prabhupada that we get better week after week and keep growing through Gita. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next Saturday. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, everyone.